Well, this was originally supposed to be a private tour by Usha Vance, the wife of the Vice-President. With relations between the US and the Danish territory souring, there were warnings of protests. Then it emerged that JD Vance was coming here together with a group of US diplomats, despite the fact the Greenland government hadn't actually invited them. Well, they've arrived, but the trip is now being held in a remote US base hundreds of miles from the capital here, Nuuk, in Greenland. And of course, earlier on today, Greenland declared a new coalition government with a promise of unity and national unity. Andrew Harding reports.
It is an exquisite wilderness. Greenland, an ice-smothered island now claimed entirely and aggressively by the United States. In the capital Nuuk this morning, the first hints of spring, ice breaking. And in the harbour, Carl Peter, preparing to go out fishing for halibut with his colleagues. If, that is, they can clear a path to the sea. I asked him about America's president.
I don't feel safe. I'm worried. Trump is trying to control the country.
What do you want to happen?
I want Greenland to control its own fate.
But will an assertive America let that happen? Today, a high-level US delegation arrived pointedly in Greenland. The Vice-President JD Vance and his wife Usha visiting this remote American military base in the far north, arguing that vital US security concerns are at stake here. But Greenland's politicians are unimpressed. This afternoon, they were celebrating the formation of a new coalition government to run the island. This is a small community with an emphasis on respect and dialogue. American bullying doesn't go down well here.
All Greenlandic people have already shouted out to the world that the Greenlandic people is the one who's going to decide how the future is going to be.
And not as an American state?
Not as an American state.
The strength of local feeling explains these images. American planes landed in Nuuk this week in preparation for a much more public visit by JD Vance's wife, Usha. But they had to cancel for fear of local protests. Greenlanders have scored a small victory today, embarrassing the White House into cancelling its plans for a meet-the-public royal tour kind of visit here. But the tug of war over this vast island is really only just beginning, and there are concerns that the Americans may start to ramp up the pressure. What's clear is that Greenland's days as a quiet, beautiful backwater are over. Andrew Harding, BBC News, Nuuk.
So what happens now in terms of the relations between these two countries? Well, Andrew Harding is here with me. And Andrew, what next for the US and Greenland?
It's a genuinely bewildering situation, isn't it? The Danish government's clearly hoping that it can negotiate its way out of this, that the Americans are not really serious about these kind of ultimatums they seem to be delivering. What's odd is that you have JD Vance here in Greenland talking about the needs for this island for security purposes. The Danes and the Americans already have a security deal that goes back 74 years. The Americans can build and install as many submarine bases, as many military bases as they like. So what's this really about? Well, the fact is the Greenland government itself is now moving towards independence from Denmark. It wants to be standing on its own 2 feet. It wants very good relations with America, trading relations. This is a prospering island that's really coming up in the world. So everything could be done, but not at the pace that Donald Trump seems to want it, and not with the kind of bullying tone that is so antithetical to the way Greenlanders are. They want a peaceful process, not this kind of ultimatum.
Andrew, thank you very much indeed. Well, this is a flying visit. The Vances are only going to be spending a few hours here. In fact, they'll be heading back to the United States in an hour or so time. The question really is, what were they hoping to achieve with this visit? Well, one thing that is clear is that many Greenlanders are preferring right now to focus on moving closer to independence than to the United States.